Alright guys, Metro Glass here, just doing a rock chip repair video. Got our camera set up. We're actually suctioned to the hood of our vehicle, and this is one of my personal vehicles. So I'm able to be as rough with this glass as I want to. This is an older vehicle that I have, but I just want to show you how we repair a rock chip. Disclaimer for this rock chip repair, and this is for any rock chip repair actually. If you as a consumer go to the hardware store and you buy a rock chip repair kit off the shelves for $25 and you try that rock chip repair, or you try other methods such as using nail polish or tape or glue or anything, and it fails and does not do what it's supposed to do or does not go through the tips, there is nothing anybody can do to fix your mistake. The only other thing that can be done after that is replace the whole windshield. So if you want it done right, contact an auto glass shop that knows what they're doing when it comes to rock chip repairs, and hopefully you're contacting one that'll do the same method that we're doing, and that method is the drilling method. That's what we're going to be doing. The other method that happens is you've got a machine that's way more expensive in the industry, and they set that on your glass and then they force resin into the crack. The problem with those machines is because they're not drilling the rock chip, the resin all the time does not go to the tips of these legs, and because it doesn't get to the tips, that crack will still grow. That chip will grow into a crack. So the method that we're doing is pretty much the best way to do this, and it's the way that's going to allow the resin to flow to the tips. And so first off, we're in the shade. Just want to point that out. You can do a rock chip repair in the sun. It's not advised if you're on a time crunch, or if you are, you know, like for me, I'm showing a video to y'all, so I'm having to take a little bit more time on this. Or if the rock is extensive damage, or also it's your first time doing a rock chip. Do it in the shade. That way the resin doesn't cure on you in time. If the rock's sitting out, the windshield is sitting out there in the sun, you can still do a rock chip repair. Just know what you're doing, because you are on a time crunch. Once that UV light hits it, it starts curing the process. And so I'm going to try and do this right-handed. I'm using a left-handed operator to drill. I want you to see what we're doing. So I got me a little drill bit and a Dremel. We're going to drill into the center here at the impact zone. There we go. We're through, okay? What you can do is just sweep that away. You can blow it out as well. And then we're going to grab our bridge. So I have my bridge here. This is a bridge. Let me see if y'all can see this. There it is on camera. Bridge is just a little device. Let me zoom out real quick and show you what a bridge looks like. So this is what a bridge looks like for us, okay? And what happens is, as I tighten down on this part over the chip on the glass, okay, I'm using a skewer or a pick to line it up. As I tighten this down, it's going to eventually make contact with the glass, and it's going to start putting pressure on this bar right here, okay? As you can see, the back part of it is also going to touch the glass, and so when you do that, you have the two forces working against each other, and by cranking down on this front here, it's going to start opening up the crack, the rock chip that is, and allowing more resin to flow into that rock chip. So let's get that lined up. And I think y'all can see this. Yeah, y'all can see that. And see, this is the part where it's either going to spread or not spread. And hopefully with us, it will not spread, because I've done this a few times. A few times, I mean hundreds, thousands of times. Okay, so my bridge currently is dry. I haven't used it in a few days, and they do dry up. And let me explain this as well, and I'll show you. On the inside of the bridge, there is a little rubber piece, and here's the rubber pieces right here for it. And this is our seal, okay, that's inside that bridge. And so what happens is, as I drop resin into that, if these seals are dry, what ends up happening is this ends up absorbing all the resin that goes into that. So if your cup hasn't been used in a few days and that seal is dry or it's fresh, you might have to add a few more drops. Now if you've just used it on a previous job, or you've used it earlier that day, on this bridge, these seals will be wet still from it. And so what you can do is just get away with just dropping, 2 or 3 drops of your resin into that rock chip. For us, because it is dry, I'm going to have to drop about 5 drops in order for my resin to get down there. So I'm going to undo it. And we're just going to do 5 drops. So there's 1 drop, let you see, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop, 5 drops. That's all we need. Okay? Resin is now on that rock chip. We're going to zoom back in on this. Well, actually, let's stay zoomed out because I want to show you the next thing. So, how do we put pressure? We use this right here. Okay? And I'm just going to go around the edge here, make sure I get all my resin I've dropped in there to go down the hole. Okay? And now that it's down there, we're going to lock it in place, and we're going to start turning this. And as I'm turning this, and actually is my cup coming up? Just a little bit, so I'm going to tighten it back down some. And we're going to force that resin into there. And seeing resin come out is actually a good thing. That's letting me know that my tip is no longer dry, that it's got the lubrication, and that there is resin that is reaching that glass part, which is where it's broke, and we're able to do an injection. So now what you don't see is me off to the side here, and that's got a nice good firm pressure right there, so I'm going to leave it. I'm off to the side here and I'm watching these cracks, the crack that's going north and the crack that's going south, and I'm making sure that the resin is going to travel to the tips. And so right now on the north one, the resin it's a good ways, it's almost to the tip, and on the south one, I can't see it with all this resin right here, there it is. It is filling the south one too. The south is much better looking than the north. So south being the front of the vehicle, north being the upper part of the vehicle, the roof. Just to explain it there. But yeah, it's feeling good. Now here's something that happens. Once you leave this on there for a moment, it needs to breathe, okay? Because you're putting pressure in there, there's air in there that's now trapped. We need to let that air go out. So leave it on there, and after a moment, and always check it, make sure it stays tight. If you can spin this, and see I'm barely gripping this. I'm not like gripping it. I'm just like resting my hands here, fingers, and just seeing if I can get it to turn. So really, don't try and like crank down on it. You will cause it to spread, but you want to keep a little bit of pressure on there at all times, and just watch it, okay? It's gotten to the tips, but I see some air traps, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to undo this a little, and we're going to take it all the way out. As we back off on this, you're going to see those air bubbles in there start moving that's in the crack. And as we take it out, there we go, the air is going to rush through those lines, it's going to come out the center. Leave this pin out of there for a few seconds. That should be good, and now we can plunger it back. If there was more extensive damage, you might leave it out a little bit longer, especially if there's no UV light hitting that crack right now, because it's going to stay liquefied. What that's going to do is it's going to allow you to keep trying and get all the air out of there, and then we're going to put pressure. And you might do it several times where you plunger this, put the pressure on there, creating that vacuum, and then taking and releasing the vacuum and seeing if you can force any air out. But the more you do that, the better it's going to be, and the better you can make your rock chip repair look as well. So it is disappeared. I don't see it anymore on the south side or the north side. It looks good. It is now ready for me to do the final step to this. And so, while I am preparing for that, I'm just going to leave the suction cup there. I'm not going to take it off right now because we don't want air bubbles or anything. We want it to look pretty for the customer. Again, another disclaimer, rock chip repairs are cosmetic, meaning its job is to prevent it from spreading. Its job is not to make it disappear. If it disappears, hey, great. But if it doesn't disappear, that's okay. As long as the resin goes to the tips and locks everything together, That is the goal for a rock chip repair. So the glass is already broke. Remember that. All we're doing is doing a repair. Alright, I've taken my cup off. I'm looking at it. I'm seeing the resin in the legs. It looks good. Translucent is the way we want. There's a little air bubble there, so we're going to tap. We're going to get that air bubble out. I'm going to add my pit filler now. And then we're going to put what I call a band-aid on there. And now all we're going to do is, because we're in the shade, we're going to take our little UV pen light. Got a little button here. I'm going to put it right on that pit, and we're going to turn it on. And we're going to do it for about 20 seconds. And then after 20 seconds, we will scrape all this away. So let's just leave it on there for a moment. Let it do its thing. Another thing, if you're working in a garage, and that's an ideal place for beginners as well because you're really blocking the UV light, make sure you seal up all of the cracks with a UV light. So make sure you put a bigger UV pen light on there. Either get the UV flashlights. Make sure the UV is at the correct frequency as well, and it's fresh batteries so that it does cure everything. Or get you one of those hardwired UV lights or the rechargeable UV lights with the suction cups. And make sure you put that on there for at least a minute to cure everything. Because in a garage, what happens is if you only cure the pit, then the cracks, if they're long enough, the legs, the resin could seep out that and continue to drain down the glass once you've walked away. And then when you come back the next day, it's all gone and there's nothing there. That's because it didn't cure. I've seen that actually. Another auto glass shop, working in a garage, injected. Next day, customer called, complained, and stated that it looks like no work was done. And yeah, it's because the UV light didn't cure any of it. So, once you're done with the UV light, scrape it away. Look, it's just a razor blade, okay? You get this from Lowe's, Home Depot, Amazon, online, wherever. But you're not going to hurt the glass with a razor blade. So you don't have to put it in the straight up and down motion where you get that little ugly deal. You can do it at a 45 angle, that's fine. Put a little pressure on the front and just scrape. What I like to do is I like to go back and forth over the rock chip zone too, which is right there. And just to make sure there's nothing that the windshield wiper is going to catch, because rock chips like to destroy windshield wipers, the pits that is, if we didn't sink it far enough. So, but once we're done with that, last final step I like to do is just kind of take my pick now, and I like to press where the cracks were and see if it opens up. And if it opens up and I see the black flecks or anything like that, then I did it wrong. I need to then immediately drill those legs and inject resin into the legs. But pressing on these legs, there's no flex in them. I don't see the crack opening up to a micro or bigger crack. So we're fine. This rock chip repair is done. And the next step now is for us to spray the windshield. And we'll spray the whole windshield. And we will clean the whole thing. And so just for y'all, I'll give you the little clean area here. There is my rock chip. And it's right there. That is my pit. That is my impact right here. Leg runs here, and it's got resin all the way to the tip. Leg runs here, resin's all the way to the tip. And it looks good. But that's how we repair. We do the bridge drill technique. And I hope this helps some of y'all that are interested on doing rock chips. It's a good way to make money if you're not in a big city that's flooded with auto glass shops. You can make that into a business and do rock chips all day. If you're in a city though, you're going to have a lot of other auto glass shops, and you're not going to make as much money if you don't offer all the other services such as recalibrations, replacements, etc., etc. So, but final thing, with your bridge, with everything that you use, make sure you clean them. And so use your rag, clean off the resin on here. You don't want it to dry on those threads. And then on your bridge, make sure you blow it out so that it is also clean. But hope this helps some of y'all. Thank y'all very much. Y'all have a good day.